Somebody to Love was recorded by the British rock band Queen in 1976. The song's lyrics talk about unrequited love and how one person wishes he could find love from someone. Arguably one of Queen's most famous songs, it quickly became popular. One particular group of people really identified with the song. The homosexual movement in the United States during the time period recognized the song's double meaning and identified with the singer. Though the song echoes the same sense of loneliness and helplessness that many gay individuals felt, it also displays the hope of a better future that is ultimately felt during the time. First, a little background on the movement will really help solidify the song's musical moments and social connections. The gay movement started in America during the 1960s. Before that, they were looked down upon in society. The gays had a tradition of hiding their community away. They continued that tradition until the homophile movement of the 1960s. This movement challenged the status of homosexuals in a society. However, it didn't call for equal rights for the gays, just their acceptance. The stigma that was formed during this time led them to feel helpless. The real switching point between the gay and homophile movements happened in 1969 in Greenwich Village, New York. Law enforcement officials raided the Stonewall Inn, a predominantly gay bar. Several days passed and a clash between the gay community and police occurred. Gays now wanted to reclaim their heritage and fight for their rights. They formed their own counterculture in order to combat the stigmas that the dominant society had put against them. The first musical moment of my song depicts the loneliness of the singer. It occurs during the second verse, third line in the song, at the 1 minute 10-second mark. At the end of the day, I take home my heart away. Obviously, the lyrics explicitly state the singer's loneliness. However, several musical elements also help its case. First, the backup singers emphasize certain important parts of the lyrics. They do this by repeating phrases. In this verse, the only lyric that is repeated is at the end of the day. Otherwise, the backup vocalists only sing vocalizations like oohs and ahs. The lack of backup in this verse shows the loneliness that invades the song. Additionally, strained and drawn-out vocals give the sense of sadness and defeat. These occur on the word all, symbolizing the fact that the singer is really all alone. The sound of Mercury's voice, in addition to the absence of backup, portray a sad, defeated tone. This sad tone can be added to the context of the lyrics in order to obtain a sense of loneliness. During the 1950s and 60s, homosexuality was looked down upon in society, forcing most of the community into hiding until the early 1970s. Though a new era of self-expression was awakening, many factors made coming out and expressing themselves hard for the gay community. Many people just thought that the gays were not good. In a poll conducted for the Institute for Sex Research in 1970, 49% of respondents agreed that homosexuals were a social corruption that could cause civilization's downfall. Some wished to take more radical approaches in order to force the community to continue its self-isolation. Fag bashings became commonplace, and societal hostility became unbearable. This persecution of gay culture led homosexuals to have an underground and hidden counterculture. The song also displays a sense of helplessness and resignation that the gay community felt. The best example of this helplessness occurs during the first verse, fifth line. It happens 41 seconds into the song. I spent all my years in believing you, but I just can't get no relief, Lord. The lyrics at this time show multiple things. First, they show that the narrator of the song asks the Lord for help. However, despite his best efforts, he can't receive any relief from his faith or his God. Adding on to the meaning behind the lyrics, phrases such as believing in you and no relief are emphasized through the music. First of all, the backup singers repeat the phrases with gusto, implying that failure is inevitable. Drum and cymbal crashes also accentuate those lyrics. The chaos happening during this section lends itself to the idea behind the words, that there is no relief coming and it is pointless to try and rein in the chaos. Many believed that the gay movement was encroaching on Christian rights, effectively alienating and demoting the movement. During the 1970s, a movement called the New Right appeared. A majority of those involved in this conservative action were also on the Christian right. These individuals focused on the causes of moral decay in society. They believed that homosexuality was one of those causes in America. So they pitted other Americans against the gay liberation movement by publishing anti-gay materials. Additionally, they refused to ordain gay ministers and refused to denounce gay discrimination laws. They also outspokenly advocated against the Equal Rights Amendment, a gender equality bill that many fear would legalize gay marriage. Even members of the gay community who considered themselves religious were persecuted by the Christian right group. Much like in the lyrics of the song, the Christian right was out to prove that God did not support the love of homosexuals. Lastly, the song shows hope for a better future that surrounded the end of the 1970s. Musically, this moment happens during the last verse, the last 3 lines before the second bridge, about 2 minutes and 48 seconds into the song.
He's alright, yeah, yeah. I just gotta get out of this prison cell. Someday I'm gonna be free.
These lyrics symbolize the turning tide and return of hope. They show that no matter how repressed a person feels, they can always earn their freedom. They also imply that there's always hope that something brighter is ahead. The music also adds to this sense of breaking free. All of the music crescendos to the words "Free Lord," and the backup vocals also emphasize those words. The word Lord is then drawn out, and followed by a moment of silence. The moment of silence serves to further accentuate the importance of the word free. And by putting all of those musical elements together, the song achieves a hopeful sense of freedom. During this time, coming out became more of a politically and emotionally freeing sentiment. Before the gay liberation movement, many homosexuals lived very private lives. They had internalized their desires and kept up appearances for society's sake. Afterwards, coming out was seen as a time that was emotionally freeing. Coming out occurs when a person begins to identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, and decides to disclose this information to others. This act allows them to come to terms with their identity and builds positive self-esteem. In the 1970s, coming out meant the shedding of the self-hatred that they had internalized. According to Michael Brake, self-hatred is defined as the internalization of a stigmatized hegemony. Coming out allowed homosexuals to recognize that this perception of their culture is wrong, and it's okay to be themselves. It was a freeing experience and helped give the gay community hope for a better and more open life. This interpretation of the song was just that, an interpretation. A huge part of music is identification. By finding something in common with the music, people can project their own thoughts and social conditions onto it. For many, Somebody to Love was simply a fun song that told the story of unrequited love. The ironic ignorance of the gay community's feelings let them ignore what the song said to that community. Music is all about understanding. In this case, the homosexuals understood Somebody to Love as an anthem that symbolized their loneliness and helplessness, but also gave them hope for a better future. Different musical elements allow different people to hear and believe things about the song and its intentions. One of the great concepts of music shows that musical moments can be interpreted so differently. No two people can listen to a song exactly the same way, just as no two people can define love as the same.